What's going on, everybody? Average Arcader here, and it's time for us to get started on our interviews from all the awesome people over at Gamemode One. It's part of our Spotlight segment, uncovering Gamemode One, a really awesome studio, one of my favorites that made some of my favorite maps. But today we are joined by their audio lead. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Scott. I do sounds, music, some voice acting, and some other stuff for Gamemode One. So that's me. And hello, Average. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Thank you very much for joining me. I'm very, very happy to have you here. As I said, I'm a big fan of you guys' stuff. I think I noticed you guys at first when I played the Bloom add-on that you guys gave away for free.
Right.
That blew my mind, and ever since then I've been paying attention to you guys, and when I started the Spotlight segment, I reached out to you guys as a community lead, I believe, and we got all this set up. And thank you again for joining me.
Awesome, of course. Yeah, I'm really glad you liked Bloom. It was really great to work on, and it turned out well, I think. So, yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah.
Okie dokie. Now, you already answered our first question, which is always, who are you? So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do at Everbloom?
I mostly do sound effects, music, and some voice acting if we need it. So when that stuff comes down the pipeline, it's usually decently early on when making Minecraft maps. I basically get a list of sounds, or I play the game and I feel like some things need sounds, and I get to that. So also, kind of under my job too, I kind of coordinate between two other people and just like getting sounds and animations and visual effects together into like one cohesive unit, and just making sure it's like giving good feedback and stuff like that. So yeah.
Awesome. So yeah. How long have you been at Everbloom? I mean, I'm sorry, Gamemode One.
That's okay. Yeah, so it would be like 3 years, I think, since a couple weeks ago, I believe. So about 3 years.
3 years, wow. So
yeah.
How old is Gamemode One?
I think it's like, it was going on a couple years, maybe a year and a half before me, so probably like 4 or maybe 5. I'm not sure. But I got in kind of like semi-mid early on. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So how big is your audio team?
It's just me. We just have just me doing stuff since like kind of near the beginning. There were a couple other people before me, and then I came on and it was mostly me after that. So.
Okay, cool. So you do all the sound effects then completely by yourself?
Yes. Yeah.
That's intense, because your guys' add-ons are normally heavy when it comes to audio.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff. Well, it's not many game studios have. There's only a few that would have like a full-time audio person. So when I'm here, there's lots of work for me to do, and that's awesome. So yeah, maps can be audio heavy just because I'm here and like am present for doing the workload that is here, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, I get you. So do you create a lot of it yourself? Like, do you compose some of the music, or do you go out and find the music?
So it depends. Like, so Advanced Farming was like my first map, and I wasn't like big on music composition then, but every map since then, I guess besides superheroes as well. So like starting from Advanced Mining onward, it's all been me kind of composing it. And Seaside Story is no different, and same with Ultimate Dragons and most other games, except of course the IP games like Pac-Man. Actually, Pac-Man I did the music for, but Sonic I did not, or How to Train Your Dragon. So we can, yeah. But yes, it's mostly me composing it. If we have the time during development and stuff like that.
Okay. So how do you do the sound effects? Like for the Seaside Story, like for the dog character, or the dogfish character that's behind us, how did you do the sound effect for that?
So for the Mercorgi, I basically I have a few sample libraries that I pull from online, and I find a sound effect that is good for like the size of like specifically for the Mercorgi, say like the size of the dog or like the style of the game and the tone of the game. So like can't be like a big woof, or it can't be like a tiny little chihuahua. It has to be something in the middle. So I pull from a couple sound libraries, and in this case, I put some effects on it. So I'm a big fan of the game Splatoon and the way that game kind of does the character voices. I don't know. Have you ever played Splatoon or anything like that?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Okay. So you know how it's like it's got that wavery like it's like a filtered effect, and whenever they talk, it's like kind of weird. It sounds like they're underneath liquid and stuff like that. I saw a breakdown of someone try to recreate that sound effect, and then I tried to recreate it as well for the dogs, kind of thing.
So how long would it take you to work on a map like this?
It on this map specifically, it was probably like a good, I would say, probably like a good 4 months. I also do like a couple of other like duties at Gamemode One, like some code and some organizing of entities around the world or NPCs, and sometimes some writing too. So that kind of gets dispersed in between sounds at this point. But yeah, I would say like it would take like 4 months for sure. Yeah.
I'm talking about like just for the audio.
Oh, just for the audio?
Yes.
It depends if I'm in the zone or not. But I would say probably like a good couple months of like safety, healthy brain working times to get like the sounds done, especially like the music, because the music is more of a big undertaking.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes like yeah, I would say probably a couple months. I could go into more about like random music stuff, but yeah.
And I say the music is really important. I tell that to everybody. Music is very important because it sets the mood and
Yes.
the tone of everything. And if you don't get that right, it can ruin the experience.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it really takes you out of some games when, or even like I was just watching that show last night and it's like, man, this track does not fit. Why is it here? But yeah, music for me is it's one of the first things that's really hard to nail down in a project, like especially if it's the first track of that you're doing for the game. So you have to like consider a whole bunch of different options and narrow down like really what the theme is and what you're trying to like, I don't know, encapsulate in tone. And so it's like, it can be pretty tough, but it's always like the hardest thing.
Yeah, I don't envy your job at all.
Yeah.
I do not envy your job at all because I've played some add-ons where the sound just wasn't right, and they had done a lot of good work on it. It's just I couldn't get into it from what they were trying to do because the music wasn't right.
Yes. Yeah. I totally understand. Yeah.
Awesome. So, have you only ever worked in your gaming? Like, have you only ever worked at Gamemode One? Have you worked anywhere else?
No, I actually haven't. Gamemode One. So I got on just as I had kind of graduated school. I had an internship at Gamemode One. So like, I knew the head. I knew Sean, and he pulled me into the team, and I had an internship for a semester in university, and then ever since I've kind of been on. And so yeah, just Gamemode One.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the very first one you said you worked on was the advanced farming.
Yes, it would have been advanced farming. Yes, but that was in the middle of school, so it was tough to work around. And it was my first time doing sounds for like anything really, and it was like, yeah. Looking back on it, I hate it, but like it was alright. It was good.
So would you say, what was like the hardest part working on that for the first time?
Just like figuring out like what I was doing, and honestly, it was like early hurdles were definitely is this good? Am I good? Is this anything that I want like to be out there? Like, am I comfortable? I looked for a lot of like approval early on from people. And that was like the biggest thing, is like just knowing that like if I was okay or not. It was like one of the biggest things, I think.
Okay.
And figuring it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. It's your first time doing it. You know, you're cautious. You kind of want a little bit of approval, like a little bit of, hey, yes, you're going in the right direction.
Yeah. And so like I did definitely get that. Like the team we have is very supportive and very, very kind, especially to like, I was kind of learning, but also putting stuff out, and they were always giving me great feedback on stuff. So that was like one of the biggest hurdles, but it was definitely overcome within like that project and just after, with, you know, kind of finding my place. And the team was very helpful in that respect. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what would you say motivates you to get into gaming?
So I was mostly like, I remember our first console that I got, it was between me and my two brothers, sorry. And we had a GameCube, and that was our first console. And ever since then have been very interested and very into gaming. And then I also I watched a lot of my brothers play games too, because we only had one console and single player games, and I was the youngest. So I always loved to watch games, and I love a couple game studios. I don't know if you've heard of Supergiant Games.
Yes.
But I'm a huge fan of Supergiant Games. And I have been in that side of things too. So I love gaming, but I don't game as much as I do watch a lot of content on YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, probably that, and then starting from Gamemode One, and also kind of making some game projects on the side. It's always been one of my main interests for sure.
Oh yes, definitely understand. I've been into gaming all my life. I think when I was young, I didn't get to play as much because I started working young. But my very first console was a regular Nintendo.
NES? NES?
Yeah, NES. That was my first one. And then I was fascinated by it ever since. And any chance I could get to play, I played. And then when I became an adult and could actually game like I wanted to, I went all out. I have a legacy collection. I've got gaming PCs. I got the PlayStation 4. I've got the Xbox One. I've got the new Xbox. I'm trying to find the new PlayStation, but that's a fight.
Oh yeah. So you collect and stuff? You collect and stuff? That's awesome, dude. I've got a friend who's into that, and it's those old games. They're just so classic. They're so classic.
Yeah, I grew up playing them, like the Super Nintendo and all of that, and the Sega Genesis. I grew up, that was one of my favorite consoles, the Sega Genesis. So when I got older, I went and I found them all. I did buy the GameCube again too, because when that came out, I had a blast playing that. Oh yeah. So when I started my collection, that was one of the first ones I went and grabbed. So
That's
yeah,
sick.
100%. I understand that once you gaming has such a it's an amazing way of, everyone says, oh, it's just addictive. I'm like, no, it touches you in a certain way. You have a sense to yourself depending on the genre of game you play, and it just fills a gap and you fall in love with it.
Oh yeah. We always used to rent games too. And I remember renting games with my brothers. It was one of the funnest things we ever did. And on our GameCube, we rented Super Smash Bros. Melee, and we would stay up late and sneak down to the basement and just play GameCube till 12, which was not, it's not late, but it was just us being gooby
Kids.
Boys.
Yeah.
And just gaming. And it was that was really fond memories playing the GameCube and stuff, especially when you're young. And, yeah.
Okay. So let's get some more questions about Gamemode One in.
Sure.
Number one, what do you think Gamemode One's greatest strength is?
I would say probably like nailing the niche of kind of adventure games that aren't violent, and having good game loops that feel good and are very fun to play. Yeah, it's
I get what you're saying. The mechanics.
Yeah, the good mechanics and having like a good all-around experience too. Like we have very, very talented people on the team we have great models and great animations and great visual effects, and that coupled with like good people who support our gameplay and do all the programming side of things. I really think we have really good, well-rounded experiences just as a team too.
Yes, you do. That's one of the things that got my attention when I first played Everbloom. Bloom. When I first played Bloom, I know that's what got my attention because of the function and the roundness of it all. It felt like a different game. It wasn't just a Minecraft add-on. It was a completely different game all on its own, with different mechanics and goals.
Yeah. That's one thing we kind of strive for too, we've always strived for kind of sticking to what Minecraft is good at, but just highlighting it in different ways, so that the experience that we make kind of shines through that. It shines like through just being, say, like a Minecraft experience, and it's still making it fun and stuff like that. But yeah.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you guys are definitely leaps and bounds. Like, all my favorite studios have a strength. Like I said, I did Everbloom was my first Spotlight studio. Their greatest strength is their storytelling. I don't think anybody on the marketplace tells stories quite like they do. But one of the things I was definitely going to highlight through the Spotlight segment on you guys was your gameplay and functionality. No one can touch that for any of the add-ons that you have done, especially the one that we're in now, Seaside Story. You guys kind of knocked it out of the park with this, with the fishing mechanics, and most importantly to me, the boating mechanics. Because having a vehicle that you can drive and stand on, I don't think any other add-on I've ever played does that.
Yeah, that's some absolute wizardry. We have very, very good gameplay wizards. I think so. Cade did the boat, so we have what I really like too is we have like a good collaborative space. We use Slack, so Cade posted that in our Slack, and it was just like, it blew our minds. We were like, how did you do this? You're a madman. You're a wizard. Big shout outs to Cade, because the boat it wouldn't have been what it is without what he did. So it's awesome. And the fishing as well. Assassin or Ibrahim, he did the fishing mechanics, and they're very crisp, and it's very, very fun to very, very fun to catch a fish and have a fish in the line and fight with it, and it's awesome.
Oh yes, like if you watch my Let's Play, I freak out when I finally learned how to do the fishing, and when I got on the boat. I freaked out, and then playing it, people couldn't tell because I don't show my face during my Let's Plays, but I actually started tearing up because recently I lost my father, and our favorite thing to do was fish, and it felt so real. It felt just like fishing with Dad that, I really got attached to this add-on because of it.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. I'm really sorry about your dad. Yeah.
Thank you.
I love fishing as well. It's one of the guys, one of my friends on the team, he got me into fishing this summer, and it's a really fun pastime. Like, I got a couple of fish on the line, I think, in our first time fishing, and I was literally, for a terrible pun, I was definitely hooked. Oh yeah.
So yeah, that, like, I can't even believe you guys gave this away for free. Like I said, I can't believe this is a free map. Because there's so much work that had to have gone into those mechanics. You know what I mean? That was amazing.
Yeah, it took a lot of iteration and just getting the feel of it right. And it's one of the, I think, it's definitely a different fishing experience to some extent from most games, even just games in general. Mostly it's just like you wait and you hook, and then you have a little mini game. But the mini game in this one, it definitely feels like it takes that part of fishing where you're actually fighting it and brings it into a game. So it's really fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, it feels more like you're actually fishing, and that definitely hit out of the park. So,
Awesome.
If you had to choose from the games that you guys have actually released, if
Right.
you had to choose, which one would be your favorite?
Probably like I have the most nostalgia for advanced mining, but I would say my favorite one would probably be Sonic, because I think we kind of turned tough to tackle gameplay mechanics to bring it into Minecraft, and we brought it into Minecraft, and I think we made a pretty good engaging map for the like tackling the speed and momentum and stuff like that, and I think it turned out well and became like a good map and a I won't say it's a good Sonic game because I didn't make Sonic. I can't like claim that, but I think it feels like a good game. So I really liked how Sonic turned out.
It really was, yeah. And speaking of advanced mining, that's actually the game that I'm spotlighting this week. When this interview comes out, the showcase should have already been out by the time this interview comes out. So what are some of your favorite things about advanced mining?
So probably a couple things. One of my favorite things that came out of the project was Jack and we wrote the dialogue together. So we wrote Nedwick and we wrote Clyde and all the character random ambience and stuff together, and then going and so our team is kind of from many different locations around the world, kind of Europe and US and stuff like that, and so they all came down to Canada, and we were all in an Airbnb working on advanced mining together, and I was recording the voices and for the tutorial and for Nedwick and stuff while they were there, and I was like, I remember as well, we were writing Nedwick's like startup monologue in the game, and I had the doc open and I was like typing words, and it was just really, the whole team was at the table, most of the team, some people could make it, and I was just like asking them what he should say. It'd be hilarious, what would be hilarious for him to say, and so we were writing that into his monologue, and it was like a great time. But yeah, so like voices, I did pretty much all the voices in that game, and I think it was also a good showing for my music, but also the digging and the drill tech, I would say, is my favorite gameplay aspect as well.
Yes, I was very impressed by it when I played through it. Advanced mining was like one of the only ones of the add-ons that I hadn't picked up yet. So I picked it up since we started. I was like, you know what, you guys want to cover that? Let me pick that up. So when I played it, I did have a lot of fun. Like you said, that drilling mechanics and the equipment really made it for me. But then the whole economy system was really cool. Because it doesn't take long for you to start really making good money and buying the better stuff and upgrading. I really like those kind of paths where you're working and you go, you sell this and you fix this. I like that, and that kind of did it really well in the advanced mining.
Awesome. Yeah, that was another aspect that I think Sean was mostly like in charge of, with also Jack as well. They had done a lot of they did a lot of real world, well, in quotes, real world research. They researched like how stuff is actually refined and like what substances can actually get refined into what. And then they did a great job with the economy balancing, because that's one of the tougher things to do in games, in my mind, is to have a good balance between like what is too much at this stage and how do we want the player to kind of flow through the game. So they did a really sweet job of that. So yeah.
Okie dokie, very good, very good. So if you had to pick an add-on that's not from you guys, which one would be your favorite?
I would say probably so I was thinking about this question a little bit, And I think one of my like early on most impactful maps that I played, just because I was new, I think came out a while ago. I think it was Monsters of the Ice by Nox Crew, I think. And I remember playing that and being really impressed by the voice acting and really impressed by the audio, because they have a great audio guy there. And it was a fun map to play and a good story as well.
Yes. I think I know which one you're talking about. I'm not sure if I've played it. I've played it, but I haven't done it. I haven't covered it at all on the channel,
Right.
but I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was really fun.
That's because Nox Crew they're crazy good too. I hope one day I can get them on the spotlight segment.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. It'd be fun to hear from.
Because yeah, they are pretty good. So who would you say is your favorite studio besides Gamemode One?
I would probably say probably Nox Crew as well, just because I've seen a lot of their maps and they have a lot of good maps and content and stuff like that. So yeah, probably them.
Yeah, like you said, they go the extra mile. They're really
They
good.
do.
They're really, really good at doing that. I think that's one of the things you two have in common, that you guys both kind of go that extra mile when it comes to the game designs that you guys are doing.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
Okay, so if you had to choose one of your own maps, which one was your least favorite to work on?
They were all pretty good. It's hard to pick. Like, I wouldn't say least favorite. I would say I experienced a lot of just challenges in Ultimate Dragons in terms of the music and like where to go with it. And that was like a tough one to go with. I ended up recording like guitar myself, and that was like a big step. So the music in that took a long time, but I definitely would not say it's my least favorite map. It was like one of the better ones we've worked on. I wouldn't say I've had like I can pick a least favorite. They're all good, and they've all had their like, oh my god, I hate my life moments on them. But it always kind of like turns around at the end. I would say I wouldn't say I have a least.
I get you. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I should rephrase it better. Like, what's your like? Basically, what's the hardest part of your job? Basically, like which?
Okay. I would say the hardest part would be in some ways, kind of bringing everything together. I'm just trying to like, what is the hardest part? I would say with every sound or every piece of music or anything, the hardest part is the starting half until you get over the hump, until like it becomes something. I think that's with anything kind of creative. You start it and you're kind of in the dark and you're chipping away at stuff and you don't know if it's good or not. And then there's a moment of like clarity that you kind of get when something is over the hump and you're like, okay, this is a thing now. This is a good thing. I can be safe now. And then you kind of reach like, I don't know, cruise control with the project, but like, or the anything you're working on. That's what I find is the hardest part.
Yeah, like that final linking of all of them together, basically, because like we discussed earlier, you guys' add-ons are really audio heavy, and there's a lot of audio going on. So linking them all together, is that like a struggle?
Oh yeah, like making sure that so I find when I get my first piece of music out of the way, I can then take from that a lot of ideas and get over that first hump, and then a lot of the like musical sound effects or sound effects in general can be like taken out of that and kind of like steeped in those ideas, so it becomes more of a cohesive game soup of sound in a way.
Okie dokie. Understandable. And like I said earlier, I do not envy your job.
Mm-hmm.
Do not envy your job at all. Okay, well, we are about out of time. Like I said earlier, I don't want to keep you here too long. I know you guys are busy, especially you guys. You're always working on something, and so I do appreciate you coming in and getting us started on our coverage of you guys. So thanks again for joining us. Now, is there anywhere where people can find you specifically, like on social media, or do you not get into that?
Yeah, like, follow, like, probably following Gamemode One I think it's at Gamemode One. You join our Discord. We're always there, lurking. There's there'll probably be links somewhere. And for me, I'm on Twitter. I'm at sbucket. That's me.
Okay,
or I'm in the Discord. You could say hi. Yeah.
No problem. If you're comfortable with it, send me those links to your specific Twitter, and I'll post it in the video. If you guys can see behind us, we have I specifically chose this spot because it shows a lot of the Gamemode One contact information. So if you guys do want to check out their Discord server, it's right behind Scott. So right above his head is that. So now link some of this, especially to your guys' game list, because I want people to go check out your guys' add-ons, especially this awesome one that we did the interview in Seaside Story.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on Arcader and or Average, and it was awesome to get a look at our stuff, and thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you guys for watching, but don't go anywhere. Make sure to stay tuned by leaving a like, share, subscribe, and hitting that notification button, because we are really just getting started in our coverage of this awesome studio. So make sure to stay tuned for more of this Spotlight segment. All right, guys. Average Arcader out.